Hello, and today we're at Middlesex University and I'm speaking to Dr. Louise, who is head of the IFP programme. IFP is the most amazing qualification. I'm going to introduce you all to it very shortly. Dr. Louise has been in the university and she's really grown this programme and made it work for students here. So we're going to find out, as you know, my love of education and ongoing education always comes through. So we're going to speak. First of all, let's welcome you. Thank you very much for joining us today, Dr. Louise.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Good morning.
So, Dr. Louise, tell me, you are very involved in IFP. What does IFP actually mean?
So the IFP stands for the International Foundation Programme. So this is a pre-university course and it's the same level of education as A-levels or BTEC or IB.
So how does that work? So if they don't do A-levels, I mean, I'm obviously very old-fashioned. So to me, you do your GCSEs, you do your A-levels or your IB, and then you go to university. But the one thing I know about this programme is you can actually cut those 2 years of education down to 6 months or a year.
So this is a course that students can do that gives them access to an undergraduate programme. It's a year, that's right. So we do accept students straight from GCSE. So 5 GCSEs at, and I'm going to show my own ignorance here and say grade C, which is now a number, isn't it? So you need 5 GCSEs to get onto the programme. And yes, it is a year. And what we do in that year is we are giving students a little bit of subject knowledge ready for their degree. So they choose a particular pathway. So they can choose the subject that they want to go on to study. But we're also giving them the skills that they need to be successful undergraduates. And that's the main thrust of the programme.
So if I'm right, when a child does A-levels, they basically study a subject at a much deeper level and they learn how to apply that studying, how to kind of get higher level learning effectively. So it's the change from here's my piece of paper, here's my learning, I'm giving it back how I've learnt it, to here's my learning, let me analyse it and give it back to you.
Yes, that's right. The jump from from A-level to the undergraduate programme is really about higher level thinking skills. So the purpose of the IFP is to give the students those skills to be able to teach them things like critical reading, critical thinking, critical researching, those kinds of skills. That's right. It's about thinking about the bigger picture. So a lot of why do I do this? Or what might happen if this doesn't happen? Or how can I change this? How can I problem solve this? It's those kinds of skills.
Just those words that we get in our A-levels like analyse and yes, okay, all those very difficult ones. Okay, I'm just going to backtrack here because I think I'm very guilty. I keep saying IFP. So IFP is International Foundation Programme. An International Foundation Programme, once you've taken it in Middlesex, you can use it where?
You can use it pretty much anywhere. It does have its own certification. So, in Dubai, circumstances change, parents move, dad gets a job in Singapore or Hong Kong and you move away. This qualification you can take with you. So at the end of the year, you get a certification and that gives you access to an undergraduate programme. So it certainly gives you access to at Middlesex University and it gives you priority at Middlesex University. So if you were choosing a course like graphic design, for example, or fashion design, it actually guarantees you a place on that course because we have very small numbers on those because of the equipment. So it gives you an advantage going into undergrad at Middlesex. You can also transfer to Middlesex in London, transfer to Middlesex in Mauritius, if you like the beach. Or you could go to any other UK university. So it's an equivalent to 3 A-levels. And so it would give you access to any undergraduate programme. I don't know the numbers myself, but yes, I would think so. It gives you a certain number of CAT points. So it gives you 120 CAT points, which is transferable.
And most degrees are asking for about 118 to 121. So yeah, okay. And then can they do any courses alongside? So for instance, if they didn't do so well in GCSE maths and they need that for further learning, is that possible to do that here as well?
Yeah, we do cover maths. So the students come in and they study 2 subject modules. So let's say that you're doing psychology. So you'll do one course which is Foundations of Psychology, which just places psychology into the bigger picture. So you're looking at the social sciences in general, where does psychology fit? And then you'll do a psychology module. In addition to that, you will do maths. And everybody who takes the programme does maths regardless of their pathway, because in the undergraduate programme, you are going to need to be able to read statistics. You might need to interpret statistics. You might have to produce statistics of some sort. And so all research tends to work around those skills. So we teach some mathematics. And then there are two other modules that the students do. One is academic writing, because that's key to being in the undergraduate programme. So we teach you things like researching, synthesis of research. We teach you referencing, those kinds of things that pretty boring stuff, but it's necessary things. And then we have a lovely module, which is critical thinking. And we do lots of fun, lots of generating of new ways of thinking, but in lots and lots of fun ways. And those modules run concurrently. So you study all 5 modules at the same time.
And you mentioned psychology, but I think there's more than one IFP you can do here.
Indeed, yeah. We actually have 6 different pathways. So we have a business pathway, law, psychology. Media is split into 2. So we have a pathway that's for graphic designers and fashion designers, because at the end of the IFP year, you need to produce a portfolio. So that portfolio is developed throughout the course so that you are guaranteed that place on the graphic design or the fashion design course. And then we have another media pathway, which covers film, journalism, creative writing, all of the other digital media courses that we do. And then we have IT, and that's a very big program. We have quite a lot of students interested in IT because they want to go on to do cybersecurity or electrical engineering, those kinds of courses. So we also have that pathway as well.
Yeah, everyone's talking at the moment. Every child I talk to wants to do cybersecurity. It's like, really? Yeah, okay. And then in terms of the student life, how different is being a student here to be on an IFP program to being a student in the UK?
We try to make it the same. So the IFP students are fully paid up members of Middlesex University. They can access everything that the undergrads can access. We have loads of events, guest speakers, internships, volunteer opportunities, fun things. We have Freshers Week, we have Freshers Party, everything that you would have in a standard university in the UK, we try to offer here. And the IFP students can access everything the undergrads can. So they can sit on the student council. They will have, I would call it a class rep. It's got a proper name, but the students will understand if I say it's your class rep, you're the head of the class, who have meetings with us to give us feedback and bring challenges to us that they're experiencing. All of those kinds of opportunities for sort of management roles, volunteer roles, all of that can be accessed by the IFP students.
I think it's an amazing way of just continuing your education. Now, if you access at 16, presumably you feel a little bit young, a little bit insecure. What's your sort of inclusion and your pastoral care for those younger students?
Yeah, we actually have a department called the Centre for Academic Success. So within that department, we support students who have learning difficulties, because we're an inclusive university. So having learning difficulty doesn't prevent you from coming to do the foundation programme. The tutors there are also there to guide students on academic matters as well. We also have a student counsellor, and we're about to recruit a second one. So students can make a completely confidential appointment with a counsellor and discuss any problems that they've got. So we've got that support. Within IFP, we also provide additional support sessions, both for maths and English. So those are accessed, there's 2 hours a week. And we offer those. We actually have 2 campuses, one in Knowledge Park and one at Academic City. So the support sessions are offered at both. So if you live nearer to Academic City, you can go there. And then all of the lecturers also have consultation hours. I'm always in my office, and students can just literally just knock on the door and come in and see me. So there's plenty of opportunity for support. All of the academic departments have support. All of the admin departments also have support, so they can go. We have the lovely Campus Central, which is good. They've got the most beautiful office downstairs. It's all glass and it's lovely. The students can go there and talk through anything that's not academic. So if they can't find the bus timetable, if they can't access something, or they want to know where the piano is, so there's all of those support services as well.
And in terms of the lessons, are they lecture theatre style, seminar style? How are they delivered?
It's a mixture of both. So in the subject modules, the students will have a lecture, and the same in maths, and that delivers the content that they're going to have to understand for the week. And then they'll have seminars where they do group work and individual work. In the academic modules, they would just have seminars. So it's a bit like being at school. So, we might talk about something together, have discussions, debates, all sorts of different types of activities. It's definitely not where you're sitting listening to me droning on for an hour. It's definitely not that vibe in IFP.
And I think the nice thing is for children that have found school difficult, they can actually find themselves here. It's not they're stepping outside that rigid timetable, and they've got a bit of self-freedom and self-expression.
They have, and we teach them how to be when they come to university. And that sounds ridiculous, that they think that 16-year-olds think that they already know how to get along with these things. But so some of the early tuition that we have in the critical thinking skills module is about how to be at university, how to be an independent learner, because at school the teachers tend to tell you what to do all the time. So, they'll remind you that you've got assessments coming up. Have you read this? Have you done that? At university, it's a lot more about self-driven learning. And so we do a lot of teaching at the very beginning of the course about how to develop those self-driven skills, how to keep yourself motivated, where to go for help if you fall behind or you feel like you're struggling or you're overwhelmed. I think the other thing to say is that the course is very popular with 16-year-olds. So it's quite a big programme. We have around about 500 students who will join us in September, but probably about 200 of those will be students who are only 16. So you're not alone. You will make friends. You're also integrated into the university. So we don't have a separate section for IFP or anything like that. We like students to mingle with the student population. They can join all the clubs and societies. We've got a student area called the Student Hub where they can go and play games. So they will meet students on other courses. And that really helps because they can see what they're going to become. We also have, in the classroom, we also have SLA, Student Learning Assistants. And for the first time this year, we actually invited students who had just finished IFP and were in year one to come back as our student learning assistants. And that worked really well because, again, the students who are new in IFP, you're only 16, you're sitting in this classroom, you can see someone who's been successful. They come back into the classroom and say, do you know what? You need to do it like this. Listen to what this teacher says. Don't ignore this. Do this. Make sure that you are aware that you can do whatever you want. We actually gave them an exercise. We give them an exercise to do at the end of the year where they write a reflection on what they've learned in IFP and what advice they would give to an IFP student coming in. And the thing that comes up the most is how the IFP has inspired them to reach their potential. Don't be frightened to reach for the stars. If you want to be something, if you don't ever think that you can't do something. And that came up a lot in the feedback, that they felt that they've been encouraged and supported to push themselves beyond what they thought they were capable of. Yeah. And that was such a lovely thing to hear. I think, I think obviously we deal a lot with children with sort of inclusion needs. And I think one of the problems is with school curriculums, it's so rigid, it's so set on a framework. There is no expression, there is no chance to actually analyse your own thoughts and to feel like you're that person. And I think moving out of that rigid framework, a lot of people do find themselves when they get to university, if they haven't been turned off by education in school. And you're giving them that opportunity here, which is it's fantastic. You're filling that gap because there's a massive gap. There's no FE colleges, but this really fills that gap for them. It does. And one of the things we do teach them is how to reflect on their own learning, how to think about yourself. What have I learned about myself? And I think a lot of the students do appreciate that and realise that, actually I can become this if I want to be. And of course, within the course, we try to allow the students to have as much choice in the activities that they do. So when they do essays, they choose their own topics. So they can choose things they're interested in. When they're doing presentations, when we're doing debates, they get quite passionate and they choose their own subjects. So again, that's about thinking about what you're going to go on to do and how do I decide what it is I'm going on to do.
And I think that's so important. I just think, to be able to choose something that you're interested in, you can enjoy writing about it. When you're given a title in school, write about Macbeth's wife or whatever it is, it's like, really? You want me to be excited about this? You can't be. It's just not possible. And the other thing that I think I love particularly is how accessible it is, how affordable it is for students to come.
It is. We have quite a lot of scholarships. So I think the fees are around about, the basic fees are around about 48,000, 50,000, something like that. I'm not a numbers person, I'm afraid. But we do have a lot of scholarships. So if you come from certain schools or you have certain grades at GCSE, I think quite a substantial number of the IFP students do achieve scholarships, and you can carry those on into undergrad. We also have, within undergrad, once you get into the undergraduate programme here, we also have top student awards, which gives you money off. If you pay early, you get money off. There's lots of opportunities for you not to pay that top figure.
And I think that's really good, because I think at the moment parents are so squeezed financially. You know, quite a lot are dropping out of school because the school fees are astronomical.
They are. And the other thing to say about IFP is that once you've paid your fees, there are no hidden costs. That's it. All of your materials, all of your books, everything that you need is available to you. We don't charge for any of those.
That's fantastic. That just makes education affordable. It makes those next steps very possible for so many people that they weren't before. So when they come into lectures, do they write these days, or is it computers? How do they record their notes?
They can do either. We have an online platform, so all of the materials that are delivered in the classroom are always available to the students. There's nothing hidden. We're completely transparent. As soon as they start the course, they're given a handbook for every module, which is online. We don't do paper because we're a sustainable university. So everything is online for them. And in the handbook, it tells them exactly what they're going to be studying all year. It tells them exactly what their assessments are going to be. It tells them what the criteria for those assessments are. So right from the get-go, they've got everything that they need. And they can access that material whenever they want to. We try to encourage them to write things down by hand. And I know I'm a dinosaur, but we do some in-person assessments, but also I think when you write something down, you do remember it a little bit better, and you can refer back to it later. Going online, if you've got to, I've got to find where that is, and I've got to log in, and my Wi-Fi isn't very good. If you can just open a notebook and think, oh yeah, that was what she said, it's just a little bit easier. So we do try and encourage them to write things down, but they are, of course, if students need laptops, they can bring in a laptop or an iPad, and we also have a laptop lending library, so students can, if they haven't got a laptop, they can't afford one, you can borrow them from the library.
Oh, that's so lovely as well. I mean, I think I'm a dinosaur. I absolutely agree. I have an old-fashioned diary, and my PA recently, she's kind of like, you need to be online. I'm like, no. I like writing. I like that, you know. Yes, it's very relaxing and it's very therapeutic. But I also, one of the things I find particularly at the moment with children that are doing A-levels and GCSEs, you know, they haven't, when I was in school, we had one notebook and we followed our revision through in that one notebook. Now that information is online, it's in a notebook, it's in a book, it's on this, it's on Teams, it's on whatever. And finding that sort of journey of learning is actually quite tough for a lot of students these days.
It is. I think the platform that we've got is very useful in that respect, because everything that they have in the classroom is on there. So any handouts or anything, activities that you've done, you can go back and do again, because the materials are always available to you on there, so they can go back and revise those. But yeah, like you say, I think it's, you know, if you write a shopping list and you write it by hand, you remember before you get to the shop, don't you?
Yes, but it's just fun. I know I'm sounding so old and so boring, but I love having it looking nice and writing it beautifully. I'm too old. And then the question that I know a lot of parents would want to know is, this is one of those how long's a piece of string. How easy is it for a student to keep up and pass this course?
Oh, the pass rate is very high. So they have a few chances to do assessments. So we always do drafts of assessments. Everything that they're given to do as an assessment will have been practiced in the classroom. So it's not going to come as a shock. And most of the time, the students can do drafts, get feedback on those drafts. And again, that's where the Centre for Academic Success comes in, because they do that for all students in the university. So you've got several opportunities to get feedback on your work. If for some reason a student just doesn't meet the requirements for the course, there are resits in the summer. So they have a second opportunity. And again, they can go to the Centre for Academic Success for tutoring for that.
And are these open book exams, or are these... They've got to pre-learn their material before they sit the exam?
No, they're sort of, it's the way that we do it in IFP is ordinarily we would have sort of online submissions. With the AI, this is becoming more difficult. So what we tend to do is practice something in the classroom. So the first assessment in academic skills, for example, is it's a simple summary of an unknown article from a magazine or something like that. So we'll practice that in the classroom. The kinds of resources that they might be looking for to do research when they're in undergrad. We read the article, we write a summary of it. So we'll practice in the classroom, and then that would be their assessment.
And that's a really good skill, even if they're going on to an undergraduate programme, because I know my son started university, and that whole, I have to go and research. And he's really struggled with that. He struggled with APA referencing as well, but that's another story. So I am, I might add. But that whole, I'm saying to him, haven't you read this journal? And he's going, what journal? You know, and I just think they're so used to being given all the information to actually have to go and look for it. It's quite a big jump.
It is, and we teach them that, and we have a lovely library course that they do that our librarian has written for everybody in the university. And so they, in IFP, that's a compulsory component. So it's an online course. We start them off in the classroom, they finish it at home. And that teaches them how to use the library resources, because we've got the most fantastic access to all sorts of journals, thousands and thousands of journals. So we teach them how to do that. We teach them how to do research. We teach them also how to read a journal article. Because some of them are quite, you sort of look at it, it's 10,000 words. I don't want to read that. So we teach them how to read journal articles and how to use that information once they've got it.
I mean, obviously you and I are quite boring, because I actually love going through a journal and kind of pulling out those bits of information and kind of go, it's not quite so exciting for a 16-year-old. I do get it. So in terms of IFP, you've got open days. They can come and look around.
They can. We've got several open days. We've got 2 next week. We've got one next Wednesday evening. We've got one next Saturday. I think that between now and September, I think there are 9 open days. So, and I'll be at most of those. So please do come in. I'll be sitting here, so please come and entertain me. So yeah, we've got lots of open days. But in fact, if you wanted a tour around the university, you can just come. So somebody will take you around the university. The recruitment team are always available.
Yeah, we send quite a lot. We do quite a lot of counselling. We do send quite a lot to you. And then if they look around, tell me a student success story. So a student that kind of left school. I mean, I know I've sent one recently to you to do fashion, and she really just didn't fit in school, and she has bounced since she's been here. It's like a different person. But, there must be a lot of students like that. They're just not fitted in school.
Yeah, I think sometimes... once you get to 16, school isn't what you're looking for. You don't want the discipline. You don't want to have to wear the uniform. You don't want to be told what to do all the time. I think for some students, it works really well just to have that little bit more of independence. And we have a lot of students who come in and they, like you say, they haven't really enjoyed school. I think the thing with IFP is that from the get-go, you're learning something that you've chosen. At school, when you do GCSEs, you do 10, 12. You're obviously going to be studying something that you not interested in, you didn't necessarily choose. At least in IFP, you've already chosen that you want to do psychology or fashion design, and you're learning that straight from the get-go. So there's that interest immediately, and that helps to motivate you through perhaps some of the bits that, inevitably you might not like some of the maths, you might not like some of the essay writing, but you know that your essay writing is going to be about fashion. And so therefore that gives you that little bit of impetus to work at that little bit harder.
And how many assignments roughly over a year are they going to have to complete?
They usually do probably 2 in each module. In the maths, they do like little tests every week. But they're little. I've done them. There's maybe 2 questions. I can only do the first couple, to be fair. I'm not a maths person, but there are only maybe 1 or 2 questions each week. In the other modules, most of the assessments come at the end of the year, obviously, because we have to teach you something before we can test that you can do it. But often they'll have something at the end of the first term, so something just before Christmas, and that'll be a little bit smaller. And then they'll have something at the end of the year. So there's usually 2 assessments, but the build up to those assessments is quite big. So we will start working on those weeks and weeks before. So long as students are going to class, they will pass. The pass rate is very high. And what's really interesting is that you will often see students who just started in year 1 in Costa or in the corridor somewhere, and they say, "Oh, miss, I'm so glad I did IFP because now I really know what I'm doing."
Oh, that's so lovely, and that's what it's about. It's that journey, isn't it? And how many of them will stay here, and a lot go away, or do a lot of them just stay on?
We do have some students who go home, and sometimes I think that's because back home you get a better deal because you're, if you go, for example, if you go back to Australia, your education is free. So of course, why wouldn't you? But we have probably usually about 85% of students will go on to our undergraduate programme here. Some will go to London. Because they want to go to Middlesex in London, and they can transfer, as long as they're 18, they can transfer to London at any point during their career with us. So they can go after IFP, after year 1, after year 2, because everything that's delivered here is the same as it is in London.
Oh, amazing. So if they join you early, they could actually just do their 1 year here. They could do their IFP, their first year, and then do their last 2 years in London, which again, that's financially a better option for a lot of parents as well, because having got one and another one going to university, I can only say how can't wait. I can't wait for the definition. I'm kind of like, oh, it's just expensive. Education is just expensive in the UK. Yeah. So have you got space? I mean, the leading question now, have you got space in September?
We have indeed, yes. So the admissions are open, and it's not a decision you need to make right now. So you can turn up on the first day that we start and you will be accepted into IFP. We accept students up to about 2 or 3 weeks into the course, and we catch you up. As long as they've got 5 GCSEs, yes, that's a C now, that whatever a C for English as one of those, but recruitment can confirm that. But yeah, so we take students up to about week 3, and then the students who start late, we catch them up. So we do some extra support with them to catch them up. So it's a decision you've got to make between now and mid-October.
And am I right that it's only about 16 hours a week, the programme, 16, 17 hours?
Yeah, it's 16 hours a week.
So they can do a part-time job alongside it maybe, and you employ them in the college as well, I believe. And that's volunteer where they get a small payment. I think I was talking to somebody, and I think some of your opportunity was very, very small payment, but there was a small payment there as well.
And we have a careers department who can find internships as well. So a lot of students do something over the summer because the course finishes at the beginning of May. So you've got plenty of time before your undergrad to get a little bit of experience or earn a little bit of money before you go into undergrad.
And I have to say, though, when you from the outside, it does look like a bit of a sort of businessy building. But when you come in, it's got a lovely university collegey feel to it, and it's quite bright, and it's always full of very lively students here. I always find it's lovely.
It is. There's lots going on. There's always something going on. So there's always music playing. I can hear in this office. I can hear when they've got because the student hub is 2 floors up. I can hear the music from here. So there's always lots going on. At the moment it's very quiet because the undergrads have just finished and they're doing their exams. So it's a shh.
So what I'm going to do then, Louise, thank you so much. I mean, I absolutely love this IFP programme, and I just think for so many students, it's absolutely the right course. I think, you have to be selective. If you want to go into medicine or you want to be a lawyer, it's probably not going to be the perfect course for you. But for a lot of other careers, it is absolutely. And if you don't know what you want to do, why are you wasting 2 years of mum and dad's money in school just filling in time just because to go to university, whereas here you can actually start that direct route? Because a lot of children take psychology thinking it's going to be amazing, and they don't find it as easy as they think it's going to be.
Writing and reading, and so they can change their mind at any point.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tag you in the bottom of our social media, and then we're going to send as many students who want to come. I mean, obviously, we're open to counsel. We chat to parents, any parents who want a conversation about IFP, A-levels, BTEC, what's right for their student. We're available, and then we have a very good working relationship with you as a university. So we're very happy to lead you down the path to the right course, which may be an undergraduate degree, it may be an IFP, or it might be stay in school just to finish that last exam and then do the IFP. So there are so many options out there, but as long as you get to where you want to go, it doesn't matter which route you take.
Exactly.
And thank you so much for joining us on Let Them Fly.
You are most welcome. Thank you.
And next week, we will be talking about anxiety.